For years, I had a mentor who really trusted the Bible. I mean, most of my mentors trusted the Bible, but one in particular was very solid in the scriptures, quoted the scriptures a lot, would do sword drills, as they're called in Baptist circles, right? Able to cite chapter and verse of a scripture. And he would quote regularly to me from 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 16 and 17, which says, "All scripture is inspired by God and is useful for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness, so that everyone who belongs to God may be proficient, equipped for every good work." All scripture is inspired by God and is useful for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. And he would use that as the basis for why he trusted the scripture, right? The scripture says all scripture is trustworthy, so therefore we trust the scripture. And you'll probably not be surprised that I was my normal skeptic self. And I wasn't so sure. I wasn't so convinced that we could just wholeheartedly trust each and every scripture. I'm very thoughtful and very Wesleyan in wanting to use the quadrilateral scripture, tradition, reason, and experience to evaluate scripture, to use it to study itself, to balance itself, to have critical conversations about what does the scripture mean, not just to us today, but what did it mean in its day and time, and then how do we apply that to ourselves? And almost every time that Pastor John would quote 2 Timothy 3 to me, I would sort of bristle a little bit. And it took me years to come to a place where I could actually affirm that scripture. I don't think in the same way that Pastor John did, but in my own way, where I do trust the scriptures. I do believe that there's value and merit in them. I do believe that they are inspired by God, different from inerrant, inspired by God and helpful for us, for correction, yes, for rebuke, we get it wrong, and for guidance in how we live so that we might do good. I say that to say it was an evolution for me. It was a journey for me. So as we dig in this next series into things that the Bible doesn't say, yes, we're pushing aside or deconstructing bad teachings, but we're also lifting up good teachings, things in the scriptures that we do claim, that we do say, and that we do uplift and hold. And I want to encourage you, if you hear this passage from 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17, or if you hear one of the other ones that we lift up as a part of this series and you sort of have a little bit of bristle, know that that's okay. That's a part of our process, a part of our sharing and learning and understanding so that we might grow together. And maybe someday you'll go, oh, I really can claim that verse with confidence and support and trust. Or maybe you go, nope, I can't, or I'm still in process. So one last time, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is inspired by God and is useful for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness, who we are becoming as disciples of Jesus Christ. Take care, friends.